Welcome back, y'all. This is the Bluechip Breakdown, and we're your host, Bull and P. And today we're going to be talking about our thoughts on Tennessee versus Ohio State, 7 days away. Because, of course, with today being Saturday, obviously the game's going to be next Saturday. So we'll be breaking all that type of stuff down. Also, we'll talk some about the transfer portal. There is some really, to me, I think to us, P, some bad news that Cam Seldon is expected to hit the transfer portal. And we'll talk about that too. But please do make sure to like and subscribe. Actually, man, let's start off with Cam Seldon, because Cam Seldon, I think Jalen Smith, and as quiet as this one is kept, I also think that Nathan Leacock hitting that portal, I think that hurts Tennessee. But Pete, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, man, those are three guys you hate to lose. Especially, if you watch this channel, you know how big we've been on Leacock as well as Cam Seldon since they freaking signed with Tennessee. Mm-hmm. And Jalen Smith as well. We love his high school film. I think this season he really progressed and was playing like one of our better linebackers, honestly, this season. So
freshman All SEC.
Gosh, you know what I mean? This is a guy.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, man, this is a guy, like, he didn't really get a chance until, we kind of, some guys kind of went down, Peeler went down, then we really started seeing him more and more and more. And, he started off kind of shaky, but, man, he got so much better. And, like, you talked about it, behind Aaron Carter, he may have been our best linebacker this season. So that's a huge loss. Leacock's a guy, we love him physically, what he can do. And same with Cam Seldon. So it's kind of head-scratching why his guys couldn't quite get into the rotation, how we couldn't find any place to use some of those guys. I don't understand. But like you said, man, it puts us in a tough spot from a depth perspective as we head into the playoffs.
Yeah, people are I've seen a lot of people in a lot of different places on social media talking about some of the losses. And I think that it's like a coping mechanism that as soon as someone leaves, it doesn't matter, who cares? And that's cool if that's how you want to handle it. But for us, we want to keep it real. Those are big losses. Jalen Smith, I've kind of gone back and forth with some folks on this, but like you said, B, he was one of our better linebackers. Losing him for the playoffs, that's going to be a problem. That's something that we will be talking about today. It's our linebackers versus their running backs versus their tight ends and all that type of stuff. But, I think that Cam Seldon going as a guy that was pretty much running back number 4 for us, but at 6'2", 225, 230, 4.240, that was averaging 5-something yards per carry. You don't want to lose players like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to lose that depth heading into the playoffs because, see, look, everyone's got their own idea of what Tennessee needs to do to win games and what would happen for Tennessee to lose games. Excuse me, I'm still trying to get over this cold, y'all, and I promise you that at some point I will get over it, God willing. But, I think, right, that the formula for Tennessee is to lean on our running game. I'm thinking, man, look, we got to run the ball at least 40 times every game. In a game like this one, coming up versus Ohio State in the cold, I checked it earlier today. I think the high was still 28, the low still 17. I've had some people send me some stuff saying that the game time temperature might be 12 degrees. Whatever, it would still favor Tennessee. But if you want to, be at your best and be able to keep on pounding that rock, you need to be able to rotate in plenty of bodies. Yeah. Like if we get, God forbid, if somebody gets banged up, all of a sudden the depth is very, very low this season. Folks are looking past this season. I have no idea why. We're in the playoffs. We got to win. So, we need to be focused on who's leaving us is going to hurt us right now. There's several players that have done that. I think that Cam leaving, what that means is we've got Dylan Sampson. We have Deshaun Bishop, who we know has been banged up a whole lot. Then we have Peyton Lewis as a true freshman. All three of those guys have looked good. But now that Cam's gone, we got guys like Hunter Barnes, who I think is good. And then we have Patrick Wilk. Those are walk-on guys. Can they get in there and, help us out from a pass protection perspective and from a running the football in a critical situation in cold climate conditions perspective as well? We're going to find out. We're about to find out.
And that's the piece I don't know if people are really thinking about is like the actual lack of depth. You got to think about it this way. God forbid one of those three guys goes down. That puts you in a world of hurt. God forbid 2 of them go down. Or just anything. A guy gets ejected.
I don't want to say that time. You went too far saying that.
Guy gets ejected, helmet comes off. Anything.
Yeah.
Like it's just not a good situation. Now I think we'll be fine because we haven't really had to go to our 4 deep all season. So you hope we'll fine. Like we're being hopeful here, but it just sucks to lose it. You like to have a full arsenal heading into the playoffs. And that's something we talk about as well. Is I think these guys still have the option to play. If they want to. So hopefully these guys stick around and at least see us through. Hey, see this thing through, like Coach David Johnson said to this team a few years ago back. He was on pro staff. Mm-hmm. See it through. So hopefully these guys see it through. But it hurts. And the receiver with Nathan Leacock as well. He's gone. Nimrod, Webb.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, well, ain't really anybody in the slot behind Squirrel. that's played any reps. Now you're looking at true freshman, Braylon Staley, guy who hadn't really played. You're looking at maybe moving a guy around. Dante Thornton's played it before. But it's just not a good situation. Squirrel's banged up, so I mean, heck, will he even go? And if he does go, how long does he go? And you know, if he is going, is it the same score we saw for a lot of the season, who only had one arm and couldn't go up and make easy catches because he couldn't use the other arm? So, you know, I think we'll be fine. I know we're kind of sounding the alarm bells, but I mean, there's a lot that could not go in our favor just from a depth perspective. These guys.
Yeah, well, I mean, things are starting to kind of stack up against Tennessee, right? So, excuse me. Whereas, you know, I still feel confident, but obviously you don't feel as confident once that depth kind of starts to wear down. Now, I think that what the staff needs to do is say, hey, listen, Cam Seldon, you know, whatever we can do to, you know, I would love to keep him around next season. But for sure, like whatever we can do just for you to play with us throughout the playoffs, I would try to do that. I'd do the same thing with Jalen Smith. Like we talked about, freshman all-SEC linebacker. That says a lot about him. That says a whole lot about him, and, you know, where he's at compared to some of the other players that he's actually played less than, right? Like he's had less snaps than some of these other guys, but he has obviously performed better. So, yeah, I mean, there's some things we definitely have to get figured out. And then, too, with Cam Seldon, we talked about the depth at wide receiver kind of starting to dwindle down. He's a guy that played wide receiver in high school. You could have split him out. There's a lot of stuff. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it for y'all. We are about championships. Like, we're not just, oh, wow, you know, we made it to the playoffs. That's not okay. Like, that's not good enough. I don't think that that's good enough. P, I know that you don't think that that's good enough. No. We want to win national titles with an X at the end, multiple. Yeah. So you have to be able to retain the players that you need in these sorts of situations. And then you got to go out and get some other people. Now, P, do you think that we will go to the portal at this point to get another running back?
For running back, I mean, I don't know, maybe. I mean, because who we got? We'll have hopefully Bishop and Lewis, and then we didn't bring in a freshman this past class, did we?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We got Justin Baker.
Yeah, we got Baker.
We got D. Morris.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about the previous class, but that's the previous. That's Peyton Lewis. So, yeah. So, I mean, I think we'll be fine there. I mean, running backs on positions, you don't really need like a super stud guy. Like, I think as long as you got bodies that you feel comfortable with.
We would only have 4 scholarships.
So, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I'm not one for overcrowding because you're going to end up the same story. Someone's going to transfer out. But, I mean, you know, it is what it is.
But you still got to have some type of competition, and you still need depth. We've been blessed. We've been blessed. Okay, running backs. Like, look, Texas lost their 2 guys early on in the season. Something like that happens. Yeah. We're down to 2 scholarship running backs, and it could be 2 freshmen, 2 true freshmen. Yeah. I think that at this point, Tennessee has to go to the portal and try to find somebody, but you got to find that right piece. The good thing about running back is it is kind of a dime a dozen. There should be plenty of people for us to choose from. I'm not expecting for it to be some, you know, game-breaking, you know, sort of a player. You know, I don't think that that's going to happen just because that would mess up the whole vibe of that room. But I think that we've got to add one more scholarship body. Now, can we also do that? Maybe, I mean, I don't even know if you would try to get a player from high school. I think that you want to go to the portal and get somebody with a little bit more experience because everybody's young inside of that room.
Yeah. I think go to portal, it should be a kind of a more veteran guy. I think we talked about, I mean, would you go get a guy that's a veteran guy, but he's still kind of young and would, you know, maybe be the best running back in that room and go try to get a guy like Justin Haynes.
Justin Haynes.
Try a guy like that. I mean, does that disrupt the room a little bit? I mean, I don't know. I mean, Baker played with him in high school, so maybe he, you know,
maybe. Well, I mean, maybe he could help us out. So just to let y'all know with Justice Haynes, a lot of times whenever these players that are from the state of Georgia hit the portal or, you know, whatever, there's people who are, they're going to Georgia. Look, these kids don't want to go to daggone Georgia, man. Like these kids, they are very intelligent, right? So I think that Justice Haynes knows better than that. Right now, it sounds like Ohio State and Michigan are the favorites to possibly land him. I'd be happy for him to go there. I'd be happy for him to go anywhere except for Georgia. But, yeah, he's a guy that I would love to add to this room. But we will see what happens. Let me go ahead and get to some of these chats here, y'all, because we kept y'all waiting long enough. Right here from Bow Hunting 101 says, what's up, y'all? Go Vols. What's going on, brother? Happy to have you in here with us. Rodo22 says, what are the chances that Boo gets snapped at wide receiver? So if you're talking about for the playoffs, I would say that it's very, very slim. Yeah. Very, very, very slim.
I put it at 0.
Yeah.
I mean, because we saw some of the deal with D. Williams. And like, you know, they just never people kept kind of rumoring it for like 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. I don't think he ever got a snap until maybe like the Vanderbilt game.
Yeah.
And I mean, it just It's just not going to happen. He's a true freshman. You got to learn the offense. I mean, hey, guys like Nathan Leacock who have more than enough ability, they couldn't crack the field, so because they can't pick it up.
That's an excellent point.
So I just don't think
that's an excellent point.
Well, just how the staff operates.
Yeah, so probably not this season. Unless maybe they've got like one package for him. It's tough because we like to run tempo. It's tough to put somebody in for just like a couple of or like one play, two plays, because they've got to be able to sustain throughout an entire drive. But maybe if it's like a red zone situation, I could possibly see it, but I would say that it's probably very, very close to 0%. But maybe over the summer they start trying to work them. We've said it. Bull Carter, Caleb Downs is another one. Travis Hunter is another one that plays defense mostly. Well, Travis Hunter is different, but those three players are actually better on offense, as good as they are on defense. That's not taken away from their defense, but I think that the offense is actually better. So yeah, we'll probably see that sometime next season. Mike Harmon, what's going on, Mike? Saying head scratcher for sure, Seldon and Leacock both. Do you think it's the injury thing with Seldon? I think that that might be part of the reason that he didn't play as much. I don't think that we rotated running backs enough this season. Yeah. I don't get why coaches like Coach Mack could rotate in 3 running backs on a very consistent basis, and then we get in Coach Sims, and he's only rotating in 2. To me, and I'm not trying to be hard on anybody, but I'm going to keep it real with you. That's a problem. I think that not getting Nathan Leacock, a guy that is 6'3", he's bigger and faster. We saw that, literally bigger and faster than Jeremiah Smith, hasn't even really sniffed the field outside of special teams. That, to me, is a coaching problem. I don't give a damn if he couldn't catch. You can't teach this kid how to catch?
You're right.
Like, are you kidding me? Like, you're on this level and you don't have the time to take as much money as you're getting paid to teach this young man how to catch the damn football.
Yeah.
That, to me, is a big issue. So there's a lot of different issues. I think we need to mix things up a little bit more, rotating more players. But so just to answer your question, Mike, is it just about the injuries, P? I don't think that it is with Cam. I think that it's part of it because he couldn't get out on the field as much. And once you kind of start to get buried on that depth chart, you're going to look around, especially if you're a talented player like Cam Seldon.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I think the injuries definitely derailed him this season, which sucks because, I mean, we talked about our preseason, expect him to have a huge year. And I think he was still poised to do that once he came back, but just didn't really give him a chance. But I think now you see Peyton Lewis really emerging, and then Sean Bishop, which I don't know, I believe is Cam Seldon and Bishop, are they in the same class? I don't know if they are or not, but so same class. So it's basically 2 guys right there that he feels like are already getting more playing time than him. That are not, like, they're not leaving. Like, they're going to be here next year. They'll be here, a couple more years. Yeah. So I think just in his mind, the way we rotate this year, I don't blame him. I mean, he doesn't see a path to get the playing time that he deserves. I think he's a guy that should be we talked about as like one of the first running backs taken whenever he's time to be drafted, just from his talent perspective and what we think he can be.
Dude, for sure.
I mean, like you said, 6'2", 224, 240, and he's mean, he's tough. I mean, he's the whole deal. So
that's for sure, man. And then he can catch the ball. I mean, he can do it all. He looks really good in pass pro. We have got to rotate in more players, and like that should be Hypo's got to be harder on the rest of the coaches about this. Rotating guys, right? Yeah. Like rotate in more people. This is the NIL era. You can't just let these kids sit and collect cobwebs and stuff and rot on the bench because they're going to be gone. We need that depth. We cannot live inside of the transfer portal.
I mean, and it's kind of it's kind of a side note on that. Not to try to boost these guys. Look at Georgia, for example. I think maybe their top 2 or 3 running backs went down earlier this year, so they were kind of forced to play a true freshman in Nate Frazier, who everybody now, maybe early he didn't look as good, but everybody now saying he's probably the best back on that team right now. How much better is he going to be next year since he got those reps? Like, how much better would Nathan Leacock have been if they put him in, last year a couple of times, like let him get some reps? Yeah, probably won't look good then, but he gets the confidence, gets those reps, can go watch himself on film, can learn from it, and he would have been able to help us out more this year. Like, you've got to invest in your players, and the best way to invest in them is sometimes just throw them out there in the freaking fire. And hey, maybe bad things may happen, but they're going to learn from it and be better.
They have to learn from it because like we talked about it with Jalen Smith. A lot of folks was down on him early on. It took him a couple of games. But you get them the reps, the kids pick it up. They got that talent. Like I hate this old school mindset of we're only going to play these older players, and we're going to take our time. Boy, dude, coach, whoever, whatever, put their kids in the damn games. Okay, like enough is enough. They're going to have to get a whole lot of stuff fixed, and we're going to talk some more about the staff here in just a minute. All right, sorry to go off on such a tangent right there. Let's come on down to bow hunting. Okay, so he's talking to. Okay, let me move down right here to Kelly Dowell saying, this is just disappointing. Been following these guys since high school, and now they're leaving and will probably go to Florida or Alabama or Georgia. Yeah, I mean, they could potentially go to some of those schools. And, it could hurt us. Now, I don't want to say that Tennessee's in some horrible spot because there's not this mass exodus. If you look at Bama, Bama's in a real bad spot. If Tennessee didn't make the playoffs this year, it would be I think that it could be way worse where we're losing guys that are real starters. We're talking more about some guys that could be like, rotating in and depth pieces and things like that. So it's not that bad, but I most definitely feel what everyone's saying because I know it is. It's very, very frustrating. From the Wise Man says, amen. And Kids Bob 38 is straight fire says, this has been an absolute failure of hypo and personnel management. Yeah, I think that in some ways we could say that. I know that people will disagree, but we have our thoughts. Y'all have y'all's. Yeah. I feel like we've got to do a better job of rotating in bodies because this stuff will be so much easier because the culture is in place. You just got to let these kids play, dude. Like, let them play. I think the money's there, too. Bo Hunting is saying, not Hypo's fault, NIL money. It is. Okay. I think the NIL money could be part of it for some of these guys. Some of them, maybe we asked to leave. I think that would be a case of bad roster management if you're asking Nathan Leacock and Cam Seldon, who came in the 2023 class, as some younger guys on this team with a ton of talent, with a really high ceiling, if you ask them to leave. Yeah, that's the problem because who are you replacing them with? Because I'm looking around on the roster, I don't see the replacements for either of those players right now.
I don't either. Yeah, I mean, look at we got some guys coming in that we think could be people, but I mean, I think that's the thing. Those two players in particular, they're two of our favorite players on the rosters in terms of their potential and their ability. Like we got some great athletes on this team, but those two stand out on a team that of elite athletes. They're like in the top 1% on this team, and just it seems like they never really got their chance. We saw a little bit more of Cam Seldon than we saw of Laycock, and I mean, there's nothing that I saw from Seldon that makes me say, well, he shouldn't have been playing more. So I kind of agree with what everybody's saying. I mean, maybe it has something to do with NIL a little bit. I don't know. But, roster management from Hypo, I think we talked about this. I mean, do we have a GM type guy?
We need one bad. We need and Hypo, everyone on the staff, we would love to do it for you. Okay, we would love to be the GM for this team because we promise you we will get y'all right. And any other positions on the staff, we would love to do that. Yeah, so we would love I think we might need to start sending in applications and resumes.
Start campaigning for that. We're going to have a roster every year. I promise that.
Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about some more players in the portal that Tennessee either is targeting or could potentially be targeting. The first player, excuse me, AJ Pena, defensive end, listed at 6'2", 243 pounds from Rhode Island. I think he's got 16 sacks this season or something. He's a guy that I haven't heard Tennessee necessarily targeting, but I did see him go into the portal. He's a pretty interesting body because there's some things that he does. I mean, obviously, he had a whole lot of stats in that league, which is a completely different level than where Tennessee is at. I don't think that he's the twitchiest guy. I don't see him as necessarily like a Leo. He's listed as a linebacker on their roster, but he doesn't have that sort of a twitch, I don't think, to play that in the SEC. But as a strong side DN, I think that he could maybe add a little bit more to their room if we wanted or, if we needed that, if we felt like we needed that. But that room might already be full. So going to the next player. Wendell Moe Jr., who is a guard from Arizona, listed at 6'2", 339 pounds. Sounds like he will be up on campus this weekend. I don't know if it's today or if it's tomorrow, but he's supposed to be up. Now, P, this is your guy. What did you like in watching his film?
I like him a lot, man. I think he's a big. I mean, first of all, look at his freaking body. I mean, 340 pounds at that height. I don't know if we really have anybody that's that girthy playing on offensive line. So I think that dynamic that he creates. And I mean, he's I don't know what he is, but it looks like it might be Samoan. So we tend to, the small guys we bring in, they tend to pop. I think he's a guy that's going to pop for us, man. He just looks good on film. He has good feet, especially when you talk about pass pro. I mean, his pass pro, I think, I mean, it might have been the best on our team this season. I saw a pass pro from him. I'm not sure what was that Big 12.
No, that's that would be Arizona. Oh, okay, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
You freaking bless you. You go through the film and you're like, man, let me see a good team plays. I mean, you're going to see teams like Utah, BYU. You're not seeing a ton of great competition from him, but I think that what he does, I think it will translate once he gets coached up by Glenn Elby. He needs to get a little bit, like I said, get a little bit stronger, a little bit better core strength, maybe lose a few pounds. He could stand lose about 20 pounds, honestly. And I think if he lost about 20 pounds, comes in and lean, mean 6'3", maybe grows an inch, comes in about 6'3", like 320. I mean, he could be probably one of our better linemen. And I think he's a guy coming next year and start if we get him. So I really want to get this one. I think this guy we got to get across the finish line. I think he will be an impact player for us on the offensive line.
All right, so next player is going to be on the defensive line. James Thompson, listed at 6'5", 295 pounds from Wisconsin. And he's a guy that I think, and B, I think that we're on the same page with this. It's probably going to be an interior body, and that's exactly what we need. Like, we got to go out and find these guys. Now, excuse me, y'all. If you haven't seen his stats, there's not a whole lot there, but we need somebody that can play that position, that understands how to play power forward football, that can kind of, clog up gaps, be a guy that kind of comes in probably, in the second or third wave and spell us, because we talked about it, P, at that defensive tackle. We've got about 3 guys right now on this roster that we feel like that will be coming back next season that we trust. So I would not be surprised if Tennessee goes out and adds maybe 2 more. The true freshmen that have come in this class will have to play at that position as true freshmen. And I'm talking about in a major way, like from day one. They're going to have to, because there are some players that I think will, like, we've got to we've got to find some players that are better, than what they've been showing us so far, or maybe they can get better. And that would just give us even more depth. But we need that for sure. Next player is going to be Josh Thompson. We talked about him some yesterday. He's a guard from Northwestern, listed at 6'5", 301 pounds. P, I think we both feel really good about him, but what are your thoughts?
So I haven't seen him yet. I know you watched some of his film.
Okay.
You say Northwestern, you say, well, let me go watch him. But from what you said, sounds like he's a guy that can play. I mean, that's the thing. I feel like we tend to, the guys who go after in the portal, I think we do a good job of evaluating these guys, especially like, in the portal. Maybe we do a better job of evaluating portal guys than we do high school guys, with some of the guys we have transfer and don't get to play, whatever. But I think he's a guy that, heck, the staff likes him. He'll come in. We need guards. So, I would not be surprised if, heck, we might have our 2 starting guards right there.
Well, let me also ask you this. How much do you think it's that we're not doing a good job of finding the talent versus we can't develop the talent?
I think it's got to be the latter. It's got to be development. It's got to be just not putting these guys in position to be successful. Like, I don't know if you watch Belichick's open press conference.
I watched some of it.
And he talked about, hey, we're going to build the system around our players. Like, he's like, you go find me great players, and I guarantee you I'm going to find a way to use those players. Yeah, and that's how we got to look at it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And those are facts, because I have seen the Patriots. Now, the core of what they did is the core of any good football team. It's about the front seven. They always had good front sevens. Yeah. But as far as the skill sets, they had wide receivers that were, like hobbit scrubs. You know what I'm saying? Like, they had no business being out there really playing in the NFL, but they were able to be productive because they found things that fit their skill set. Yes. Football is so simple from that perspective. You don't need these players to be like just perfect and can do everything. Find players that are good at certain things. If you want a certain sort of a system, but if you got what you got, work with what you got, and make that work for you. So that is a very good point. But yeah, I do think that Josh Thompson will be coming up at some point next week. He's got a ton of offers. He's got a long list of teams he's going to be visiting. We talked about that yesterday. Same thing. I know that Wendell Moe Jr., he's got like Auburn is a team that I know that is very interested in him. But a lot of power forward teams are interested in him as well. But let's go ahead and move on, because that's pretty much it as far as the transfer portal goes that we know of at this point. But I do want to kind of get more into this game, because we said that we talk about it. Like we said, it's supposed to be cold. I feel like that's going to favor Tennessee as long as we can stay physical. Now, one of the things that we haven't talked about very much, and I'm not going to go too deep, because we got all in next week where I'm going to go deeper into some of these individual matchups. But I think that looking at the linebackers versus the tight ends in games like this where it's very cold, typically the tight ends are where you want to throw the football to, because it's a much shorter pass. They're typically bigger, stronger, tougher. So they have a much wider catch radius, things like that. So I think that could be a matchup. I don't know how I feel about it. I want to get your thoughts on that. How do you feel about that from Tennessee's perspective on offense versus Ohio State on defense?
Yeah, it's always interesting when we talk about linebackers, because that's, to me, when we talk about pass game, that always concerns me the most is the linebacker room. And but I think you look at Ohio State. They have number 88. He's a really good athlete. I don't think they use him a ton in the pass game, but they use him more than any other tight end. But outside of him, I don't know if they have another really pass catching tight end that I've noticed. I think Aaron Carter can match up with him or whoever. I think it's going to be important to try not to get T-Lander in situations where he's matched up with guys, because we saw against Georgia, even when he's in great position, he slips and falls and gives up. So, and here, like I said, we love T-Lander, but I don't know. I thought it's kind of a push, I would say, and in my mind, just because I think that one guy they have, I think will be a tough matchup for anybody outside of Aaron Carter. But I think if Aaron Carter's matched up with him, it's going to be fine. And, of course, if Jalen Smith can go, I think he matches up well with him, too.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Smith's probably not going to go.
Yeah.
We'll just look at this like he ain't going. We'll look at this
there.
like all the transfer guys won't be playing. And if they do, then that's just extra depth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but I think, yeah. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, yeah, I'm done. I was going to say, I think we'll be fine, man. They don't scare me there. But I could see them trying to scheme things up to attack that.
That's the thing. So with what I've seen from the Buckeyes, they'll bring their wide receivers in close. They'll use them to block. I think that would be a big mistake in this game, especially if they try that early on. I would tell my players, I say, hey, listen, old school football, y'all. We might give up 20 yards on this play, but if a wide receiver tries to block you, they won't be playing for the rest of this game, right? Like that's how because you got to stop them from doing this little cute stuff. You're not gonna even slow our guys down for 1 second with skill players like our box guys. We're not just gonna go through you. We're gonna try to kill you. You know what I'm saying? That's how I think Tennessee needs to do. It's going to be one of those sorts of games. It's going to be like an old school football game. So I'm hoping that that's the mindset. And I just said linebackers, Pete, but I should have said linebackers and safeties because obviously in certain situations, the safeties will have to guard those tight ends. But I think that G. Scott from Ohio State is a player that he plays more like a wide receiver. He's not the most physical guy. He's got pretty good size, 6'3", 243.
This is 88.
Yeah, 88. They've got some other tight ends that are bigger, but Pete, to your point, they're not really, pass catching threats. I wouldn't say that they're the best blockers.
They definitely block better than 88.
Yeah. So they're pretty good at blocking, but they're not overly physical. Like they're not like our tight ends are physical. Like when we block, we're trying to maul you. Like we're trying to hurt you. I don't see that from them. No. So I would say that if you're just talking about Tennessee, Tennessee's tight ends, which we have 3 guys that can, well, really 2 that can catch passes and block. And then we've got another one that sometimes block, but he always looks good going out and catching passes that have really good size. I think that the advantage would be going to Tennessee, even though Ohio State's linebackers are, tall, they're long, they're really athletic. But even still, I don't think they're physical enough because you can box a guy out, right, in some of these cold climates. So that could go to Tennessee. But on the other side, I think that, bringing up guys like, JT in pass coverage, he's going to have to be playing zone. I don't think that, we cannot let him get isolated in a man-to-man situation. That's got to be an automatic, hey, a safety's now covering this guy. Automatic. Because they will scheme it up where he's going to have to cover, number 2, Tate or Jeremiah Smith. I promise you they will try to do that if we let them. So that can kind of dictate some of the coverages that Tennessee plays. But I do want to kind of move on to another part of it that I think is going to be a big difference in this game, and that's Tennessee's front 4. I think that our front 4 has to play great. It can't be anything like what we saw versus Georgia, where they looked good in run support, but there was no real pass rush. I think that they need to play great in this game. They've got to keep our linebackers clean, and they've got to consistently be able to get pressure on Will Howard and disrupt his timing. Yeah. But what do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think this would be the best front 4 they've faced all season. I mean, I know Michigan's was pretty decent. Penn State's got a pretty good one, but they don't.
Oregon's is pretty good.
Yeah, Oregon's is solid, but I mean, I think in terms of just sheer physicality, snap after snap,
they haven't seen nothing like that.
Yeah, like we're going to be giving it to them in a way they haven't seen, and I don't think they've really faced the speed off the edge that they'll see. I think we kind of talked about this, just watching the way that their O-line pass sets. They almost try to make everything look the same, like their tackles. So it almost looks like their run block, which is, you don't know the difference. Pass set for O-lineman, he's popping straight up and he's stepping back. If it's a run set, his head's down and he's pressing forward. And they kind of make it look the same. You can't really tell if they're going forwards, backwards, if they're high, if they're low. So it looks like run or pass, could be either one. But the problem with that is they're not getting depth. So if you got James Pierce who can fly or Josh Douglas who can fly, come off the edge, they're going to run right by you. Yeah. So I mean, I think those guys have a big day. I mean, I feel really confident. This is the one matchup that I 100% no doubt feel beautiful about. Yeah. I mean, our D line is going to destroy. I mean, they're going. I'm gonna tell you, I was watching these guys versus Indiana. I mean, Indiana, all those other teams. I'm like, man, look at these guys. They got guys look like they're about 6'5", 240 playing D tackle, and I'm like, man, we got guys that are gonna freaking destroy these guys. So I'm excited about that matchup. They're not gonna be able to run the ball. I promise. If they run the ball, that's gonna be unbelievable. I'm telling you. Our D-line should absolutely eat in this game.
Yeah, they most definitely should. And just as like a point of reference, I believe Indiana has I want to say it was 4 guys over 290 pounds up front. Tennessee has 12. So like we have guys that are 290 and up, and like we looked at this. We have defensive tackles that are faster than their ends. Like Bryson Easton, who's like 320 pounds and plays defensive tackle, is faster than their fastest end. And then Big O, who's like 340, is faster than their second fastest end. And they barely ever rotating guys. So it is a completely and totally different. And people don't understand the difference between how an SEC team is really built, because I've watched so many of these Buckeye podcasts and stuff, and it's tough for me to get through them because y'all have no idea. They're talking about, oh well, Tennessee lost to Arkansas, and and this team has success, and they beat Vandy. Vandy's not good, buddy. Vandy would be at least number 4 in the Big Ten, if not 3. Like they could push. I think Penn State. It is different because the teams are built different up front. We've got a lot of big dudes who are big but are twitchy and can move. Whenever you look at the Buckeyes front, which we're about to get to right now, their ends are not twitchy. I don't think that they're twitchy, nothing like the SEC. So their offensive line hasn't seen really any level of twitch near what Tennessee's going to have coming in waves. Oregon might have 1 or 2 players that has some twitch, but it ain't going to be the same because we've got like 7 or 8 guys just playing it in that are going to come off the edge and be strong at the point of contact and be very, very twitchy. So, and then we've got defensive tackles that are big and twitchy and strong and explosive and mean. They're dogs. So, P, I think that you're exactly right. Our front 4 should be able to eat. Will the linebackers be able to kind of come down and complement that? We'll talk about that in just a minute. But let's switch it on over. Let's talk about our offensive line versus their defensive line. What are your thoughts right there?
I actually like their D-line. I know you're hard on those guys. I actually like 44. He's I've seen him do some things I think are pretty impressive, in terms of some of the moves he does. I think he's a better player than we're giving. I mean, he's really good in my opinion. And we'll see kind of how Lance Hurd and because he typically stays on the right side, so it'll be offense's left. So he'll be going against Lance Hurd mostly. We'll see if he can kind of handle the bull rush, because he does a thing. I don't know if you call it a bull rush, but he basically kind of bull rushes, but like he makes like an inside move at the same time. So it's not just plowing straight over him. I think Lance Hurd kind of susceptible to getting beat on moves like that, so we'll be watching out for that one. And then I like their 2 kind of starting to be tackles. I like 91 as a bigger body guy. I don't know how big he is. He looks like he's probably close to 320, 330.
I think he's 6'3". I want to say 319.
Okay,
something like that.
I mean, he looks good, and I mean,
he does look good.
Yeah, he's
both of their tackles.
Both tackles, and at 58, he's on like 295. But I actually like him. I like him better than probably anybody. But to me, I mean, he shows strength for his size, but he's also quick. I mean, I've seen a couple plays when he chases down the screenplay, and I can rewind that and say, who was that? Is that the linebacker? No, that was him. You know what I mean? Like he can run. He's a good athlete. And then the other guy, 33, I think he's the weakest link on that unit to me. I've only seen him do much of anything. He reminds me a lot of, I think, 40 for Arkansas, who actually had a pretty decent day against us. So taking that what you will. But I like the matchup. I think our guys are coming ready to play. These guys are pretty straight up and down. It's not a ton of, like you said, quick twitch shiftiness, which I think we tend to do better when guys try to come straight at us. So, Cooper's going to have a big day in the middle, whether he's working on 91 or 58.
All those guys.
All those guys.
Carrick, Spraggs, and then we'll
tackles.
Maybe we'll see some of Lampley. I know that we'll see some of Dane Davis.
Yep.
So I love all those points, because I do think that their tackles are probably the best part of their defensive line to me, because to me they look like SEC caliber tackles. But on the edges, I know you talked about number 44, JT, and I want to try to say his last name because I'm going to butcher it. But for me, right, you said that number 40 for Arkansas was like 33. I think that 40 for Arkansas is more like 44.
Wow.
And to me, 33 from Ohio State is more like I don't know if I could even, I'm trying to see if I can think of somebody real quick. Maybe we could go from our own team.
But I'm gonna say maybe one of those NC State guys. I think NC State.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's more he's like NC State level, 100%. So let me just first say this: understand that the kid 44, playing with Ohio State, knowing how much more talented they are than the teams that they're going up against. They played 2 good teams all season. I guess 2.5 if you want to count Indiana. Everyone else was absolutely horrible. Yeah. This guy had more snaps than James Pierce. And less sacks. Playing and James Pierce plays in the SEC. Yeah. Okay. So I think that could tell you something. But also going back to number 40 for Arkansas, My thoughts there, because we came into the game and I said the exact same thing. I was like, look, we don't struggle as much versus the power. It's the speed to the outside that scares me. Now, we gave up, 4 or 5 sacks in that game. 40 actually played pretty good. He looked pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with that was we had guys like Lance Hurd who hadn't played in like a month and came back super out of shape.
Yeah.
Okay. And he was getting whipped because he was gassed. We were coming off the bye. I don't know what the hell John Campbell was doing. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't show up there either. But I think that at this point, we should be in shape. Because Lance Hurd, I think he's looked good over these past few games once he got into shape. We know that he's the most talented player on our offensive line, period, point blank. I don't think that you can question that. Now that he's in shape, now that he's gotten used to it, he's seeing with the, half sleeves on and stuff, like he's feeling himself some. I think he's going to be fine with that, bro. Like, you ain't about to try to bull rush me, come straight at me. Right. Every time that I've seen people trying to do that to him, I would say over the past month, and y'all can go double check on the film. He's burying those bodies. You know what I'm saying? He's boom, you're going to the ground quick. So I think that we'll be fine there. And then, like you said, 33 will probably be on John Campbell. Not worried about him, not worried about Dane Davis versus 33, because 33 to me is almost a total non-factor. And all their guys, especially those tackles, they play so many snaps. They barely ever rotate them in. They only go about 2 deep up front. That's going to hurt them in a game where Tennessee's going to, probably be running tempo and things like that. By the end of the game, like by the time we get to like the middle of the third quarter, I would expect that they are worn down, and hopefully Tennessee has the lead. We're going to run the ball right at you, smack down, boom, 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 play action. Everyone's coming down, play action. We're going to throw it over your head for 6 points. Yeah, that's what I want to see from Hype.
No, that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's beautiful, and that's why this game should play out, man. I think we're better than these guys on both sides of the line of scrimmage, and so just hope Hype can stick to the freaking run, establish the run early, because like you said, it may be tough sledding early, maybe, probably won't, but maybe. And if it is, stick with it, because over time, man, those guys will wear down. We'll pop some big ones in the second half for sure.
Yeah. So what else did you what else do you see in this?
I mean, like I said, this is a very basic offensive scheme that they run.
Yeah,
it's nothing special. I think you talked about it. I mean, heck, from 4, you're going to get curls, hitches, goes, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to get much. Like, that's, to me, is going to be the biggest matchup of this game is our DBs versus their receivers, because I don't think the run game is going to be there. I mean, they're going to maybe try to manufacture some stuff, you know, whatever, however you do that, whatever. But our DBs, and man, you talk about those Ohio State pods. I mean, these guys, I don't know which one I watch. I wish I could find it, so you guys go watch that one. But man, they just keep on saying, hey, obviously you want to pick on Ricky Gibson. He's the guy you want to pick on. And I'm just like, dude, like, you can try that if you want to, but hey, it ain't sweet on that side either. Like, I'm gonna tell you what's so funny about that is that neither one of their cornerbacks would, I don't think, even be in the 3 deep for Tennessee. They damn sure wouldn't be starting. Yeah. Neither one of them. Like, dog too. Yeah, number one, he's the most penalized, or he has the most pass interference calls out of any secondary play in the entire country. He's every single play, it's PI. Yeah, it's holding, and we're not literally every single play. He's horrible. Number 10, and really both of these guys, even though they're holding and all that type of stuff, they're still getting beat. And that's the most concerning part. 10, he's allowing an 80% completion percentage. 80%. That's atrocious. Yeah. That is the worst that I've seen all season. Like, we talked about the kid from Georgia. I think he was at like 70 something. We was like, oh man, that's horrible. Dude, 80% you're starting in the freaking Big Ten.
Yeah, and dude, in the Big Ten, that is pathetic. That's pathetic. Please don't talk about our cornerbacks, because y'all's cornerbacks suck. Y'all's cornerbacks are trash. Absolutely horrible.
Yeah, but I mean, I love the matchup, especially for our corners. Now, where I have a little concerns with the safeties, we'll see, because they get some tough matchups there. I think we have to be smart with how we play these guys and try not to put our safeties in too many kind of like man coverage situations. Like, and if they are in man, we have to find ways to get the best matchups. Get the safeties on tight end, get Boo Carter on there, because we got 2 corners and we got Boo Carter or Christian Harrison, so we should be able to go 3 for 3 as far as that goes, and find a way to move the other guy to a line or to a tight end or running back. Because that's the only way they can attack us. That, and then of course, if we don't get sacks, let the quarterback escape the pocket. They do a good job in scramble drill, so when plays break down, they can get some plays here and there. But I don't think they can live off that. I think what they do, man, so straight up and down. I mean, I'm expecting like 2 or 3 picks. Like, we're going to really neutralize their pass game, I think, as long as we can avoid getting in tough matchups.
Yeah, I also think that we will see some tempo because it does kind of feel like Tennessee has struggled a little bit versus tempo. That was something that Georgia did in the second half of that game, and they had success doing it. It does seem like it takes us a little too long to get lined up and to get the call, all that type of stuff. I think that this is a game that Tim Banks needs to keep it real simple. Hey, look, when in doubt, just blitz, okay? We're going to run a cover 3 blitz, all right? Hey, secondary players, we want y'all playing deep. Don't let nothing get past you deep, and we're going to blitz everybody else. And, hey, it's fine, especially early on. Take you take you at least one 15-yard penalty on Will Howard. I promise you. Get your late hit on that kid. He's done. He's going to be back there licking his tongue out and patting his feet and looking around for ghosts and stuff. That is what I want to see. Like, we've got to really this is going to be one of those games, and I'm so serious whenever I say this. This is something that I want to see from Heupel. You've got to be willing to really do a little bit more than just playing so straight up and down. You got to kind of play a little bit dirty, not to injure anybody, but to intimidate people. You got to do that because this is do or die. I want to see a lot more of that out of this team. And we got the players, man. Look, Omar Normalati, he's about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think we got James Pierce, he's about that. Joshua Joseph, we got waves of them up front. They are really the whole defense, dude. The whole defense, they are about that type of action.
I think they are,
I mean, look,
they're nasty. I mean,
why don't we bring in Kobe Thomas and say, hey, look, you're gonna go on a mission.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying? You're gonna go on a mission.
We don't want you starting as the high safety, but you're blitzing. You're blitzing. You're about 20 yards downhill, baby. You're coming in full speed. I don't care if you jump the snap early or if you're late getting there, whatever it is. You don't stop till you make contact with that freaking guy.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. But I mean, we're only half joking here. You know what I'm saying?
Like, I'm very serious about it. Like, I mean, I'm laughing because it's a little bit. But yeah, I am serious because look, whenever you talk about guys like Chavis, right? And I know people used to say, "Oh, third and Chavis," but you know what that team was? They were intimidators. And we're watching some of his drills whenever he was coaching at I think it was with LSU, and they're doing that like gauntlet where they boom, like basically how we used to do that shoulder drill where you've got guys, you have 3 guys lined up. I would say maybe 7 to 8 yards spaced out. Then in a straight line vertically. Then there's another player. They just run straight and hit that first person. Boom, fight, go to the next one. Boom, fight, go.
And the guy they hit before, they never stopped. So they came to the next guy, and they kept fighting. So by the time you got to the last guy, you got 3 guys that you're trying to fight through, whatever, 3 or 4 guys that you're trying to fight through to get to the dummy. Like, people say that you can't coach dog. That's the way for you to bring the dog out or decide, hey, you win a dog and you need to go to the portal. I don't care what you were rated as. I don't care how many skills you got. If you want a dog, you can't play here. But that's, I think, the type of a game that this needs to be. And I'm hoping that Heupel does that. Honestly speaking, and, I hate to say this because it might sound wrong to some people, but understand what I'm saying with this. My biggest concern for this game is with Coach Heupel. Will he come out and will he do what this team is good at and continue to stick to that? Will he make sure that his coordinators like Tim Banks or, whoever else is doing the exact same thing? And if something goes wrong, if something's not working, will you adjust? Or will you just say, hey, look, this is our game plan. We're going to live and die with this. They gave us a look we weren't expecting. I want to hear that stuff after the game, coach. And that's what's going on. Yeah, as much as we try to complicate this whole deal, it's going to come down to coaching. This game is going to come down to the better coach is going to win this game, or whoever coaches this game better will win. And probably pretty much every playoff game will be that way. So I mean, this is on Heupel. And we said this as soon as we saw his matchup. We don't win this game. It's on Heupel.
I think so.
We've added a lot more analysis to it, but at the end of the day, it comes back to Heupel. This one's on you. Now, of course, we go out here and do dumb stuff like a whole bunch of turnovers and fumbles and dumb stuff. That's not him. But as far as just executing and putting us in position to win, coach better have a game plan dialed up and get his guys ready to play.
Man, this team is going to be so focused. You know what I'm saying? And like, at least we should be. Like, the upperclassmen that came back, this is what they came back for.
This is exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I actually heard one of the other Buckeye podcasts. I'm like, oh well, we're an older team than Tennessee is. Dude, we've got grown ass men. We've got 5th, 6th year seniors up front with grown man strength. Excuse me. So
we're like 2 or 3 deep.
Those guys came back for a reason. A lot of those guys had to deal with that Pruitt, era. They've earned their stripes. So this is a game that those guys need to be very vocal about. Hey, look, you better not, mess something up, or I'm going to physically reprimand you for that. Like it's got to be like that at this point. This is playoff football, y'all. Like the real dog has got to come out. Also, I think that Nico is going to have to play well. And I don't mean that he has to be Superman or nothing, but Nico, don't be you. And I think maybe that's like my whole thing for this team, period. Mm-hmm. Let's just be us.
Yeah.
Let's just be us. If we're us, we win. Mm-hmm. Because being us is physical, something that Ohio State isn't. That's something that they're going to have to be with the weather and all that type of stuff. Be us, okay? And Heupel, who you are, is going for it on fourth down, taking crazy shots. You know what I'm saying? Going at people's throats, running up the score. Run it up. Get back to that. Like the goal should be, hey, we're going to try to score 75 points or more in this game. Yeah. Like we're not going to let up. We're going to keep on scoring. Yeah. I think that that's going to help us out.
Yeah. I love that, man. Just like I said, go out here and be us, be who we are, because we're a better team than these guys. They may have guys that on paper are more talented, whatever, but we're tougher, we're stronger. We've been more battle tested this season. And I think I think we have the better staff. I do. And now Hype will go out here and prove it on Saturday or whatever. But I think we're the better team, man. So like you said, man, Nico, do what you do. I expect him to ball. He lived up to it for me when we played Georgia in Athens. Talked about preseason. He talked about, hey, I want to go on the road. You know what I'm saying? I want to go to Athens. We played those guys. The stat line, it is what it was, like 192, whatever it was. But go back and watch that game. I mean, you talk about how many third downs he converted with his legs, with his arm, the throws he made, the toughness, the tackles he broke. He showed me that he was a freaking dog that day. And I expect to see that again from him against Ohio State in their place. Expect Nico to have a big day.
Yeah, let me get to this clown right here. Richie Dub saying, bro, y'all played a 2-game or a 2-team schedule. Wait a second, sir. Coming from the Big Ten, where you have historically now, Oregon helped y'all out tremendously this season. So did USC and all those Pac-12 teams that came in. But before your schedule was Penn State and Michigan.
That was literally it.
And Ryan Day couldn't beat them 4 years in a row.
Dude, but listen, imagine this. Imagine if we were Michigan. Imagine we were Ohio State. We had the roster they have, and we played the schedule they played every year. Do you think we would ever? I mean, how much talent?
There's a 0%
number one forever.
Wait a second. Iowa went to the Big Ten championship last season.
Wow.
Iowa went to.
They couldn't even score.
No. Iowa went to the Big Ten championship last season. Tennessee played Iowa in the Citrus Bowl. We had a true freshman playing at quarterback. He had not started the game. We're missing almost the entire offensive line, almost the entire defensive line, the entire team. Yeah. We're missing like 20 people from that game. And we absolutely dominated them. Dominated them.
Killed them, dude.
That was the second best team in your conference. They sucked. Okay? They were terrible. So please don't give me that because who the hell did y'all play? Northwestern? They suck.
Northwestern. I think Nebraska's probably one of the better teams they played this year.
Nebraska's one of the better teams you played. What did they go? 6-6?
I don't know. I don't know if they made a ball or not.
6-6. Those guys almost beat you in the shoe with the true freshman quarterback. Shout out to my dog Dylan.
I think they played Marshall.
Buddy, what?
Yeah,
like Western Michigan.
Are they in the conference?
Please don't. Let's not even try to compare and contrast the Big Ten versus the SEC.
And Indiana's one of their big games.
Indiana is garbage, dude. Indiana sucks.
Dude. So
Indiana sucks, bro. And Indiana looks good because they're in the Big Ten. Indiana would be in the bottom, in the bottom 10 of the SEC. Yeah. Like that would be,
they'd be
like 15 or 16. Yeah, they would be way down there.
Mississippi State.
But we had 7 or 8 teams throughout the season that could have made the college football playoffs. Y'all had 3, and they gave you 4. What are you talking about, dude? Like, please don't. What are you talking about, dude? All right, but anyway, though, we're gonna go ahead and end it on that, y'all. But look, thank y'all so much for chiming in. We will have a whole lot more coming out. Probably have another video coming out tomorrow. Definitely starting on Monday. You already know we're getting into the breakdowns. We start off with the offense versus the defense. It's going to be Ohio State's offense versus our defense. And then, we'll talk about our offense versus their defense and all that good stuff. So we'll get back to the normal 1s and 2s. But y'all do enjoy y'all's day. If you didn't know, our basketball team does play at 5:30. So we got a few more hours before that one. But, hey, we're number 1 in basketball. We're the only school in D1 that has an undefeated men's basketball team and an undefeated women's basketball team. I think the hockey team is like number 2. Yeah. Obviously, the football team's in the college football playoffs. Baseball teams coming off of a World Series title. This is the everything school, baby.
Yes, sir.
And look, understand something. Whenever we come up to Columbus, you know, figuratively speaking, we are coming up there to lay it all on the line. Okay, we're gonna put it all out there. We're coming up there that hey, we might not make it up out of here, but we're gonna make it up out of here with a win. Because and I had to bring this up because somebody talked about the Alamo and you know Tennessee being the Volunteers, and he kind of chuckled whenever he talked about Davy Crockett and him not making it back home. Wow. But guess what? We won. You understand? That's the Tennessee way. We lay it all on the line to win. The fans are coming. We're about to take over that shoe. So y'all get ready, baby. It's about to be a hell of a week. But thank y'all so much for tuning in. Please do make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share with your friends, family, and other volunteer fans. We'll see y'all in the next one. Thanks. Peace.